Hi, welcome back to Rococo Couture. This is the third video in a series of 3 videos. In this video, we're going to show you how to do some ornate plastering with Rococo Couture. And you're going to really get a sense of how hard it gets, and you'll feel confident that you can do it yourself. So before we get started with that, I'll just show you what we're going to be doing. These are the pieces we're going to put on. You'll need some Q-tips for cleaning up. You'll need a tape measure for pretty much every single piece you put on to make sure it's in place. A box cutter or Stanley knife, a gawking gun, trash can, baby wipes for cleaning up, sort of like post-it kind of stickers, so you can sort of mark on the wall. You'll see how we use those. And some of the gold paint, just because you might have to do some repairs if we're going around a corner or something. I think that pretty much covers it. Okay, and it's handy to have a table so you can lay out all the stuff you need. So that's generally what we use. Today, to give you a background on the pattern, so this window is sort of like the focal point of this room. It's the biggest feature. It's almost 3 meters long, so the columns on either side are 1/6 of the width, and that's just sort of dictated by classical order. Surrounds for a door or window should be 1/6. So 50 centimeter wide, approximately. And we've kind of got the 2 columns either side with their kind of entablature pattern on the top. And we've kind of improvised as we went along. Not every wall has to be the same, but you need sort of a repetition. So you can see the columns appearing and a different entablature across the top. But we're continuing that pattern around. So into the entryway, we are sort of starting to, oops, kind of can't see. There you go, so just so I have an idea. So that goes on both sides. So this is where we'll be plastering today. And I will try to sort of get you a close-up view of where we need to be, so you can see what needs to be done. All right, so to begin, the first thing we need to do is work with our glue. You won't need any nozzles, so you can throw those away. Stanley knife or box cutter, just trim the top of it. So you've got that. You'll need your gawking gun. And just to show you, when you finish doing all the gawking you need, what we generally do is put a bit of sticky tape over the nozzle just to keep it. And then next time when you want to use that, you'll just need to pop it open with just the end of something, or I usually use a pair of scissors. You just got to get the plug out, but then that'll be good to go. So load your gawking gun up like this. You just need a little tab. All right, we might work here just to show you an easy one first. So this is a piece that goes there. You just have to touch the back of it a little bit. This hold-up glue is extremely strong, so just little bits everywhere, especially on the fine details. Once the plaster has a backing onto the wall, it's very strong, so it won't break easily. The plaster is basically the same as your drywall, so if you have to cut it, that's what your box cutter's for. So just little dabs all the way around, and take your time with this. Like, don't take too long, otherwise your glue will dry, but just make sure you get all the little bits and pieces, all the little jagged edges. Okay. There we are. Okay. Oops. Okay, so you can see there, and that pattern will go here. So just line that up nicely and then press. Okay, and make sure it's pressed relatively firmly down. So just give you a close-up shot of that. And you can see here there's a bit of glue just oozing out the sides. So what we do with that is we get our Q-tips, and you just want to clean, I hope that's taking the photo, but you just want to clean that up. Just give it a nice little wipe so the glue's not showing. In there too. And that should be it. Okay, so it's as simple as that. Once you have the pattern, it's just continuing. And some parts, like, you know where they go, so you don't need to worry about the measurement too much. Now I'll just show you with this one. See this one, it has a bend. So when I put that same piece in, it's going to have to sort of go around the corner. So you can see part of it is going to have to snap here. Okay, so the beauty about using plaster is that it can snap in opposed to, say, wood or steel or plastics. So you have no problems getting around tricky bends. So we just, again, glue it all up. Take your time with this. Try not to get on your hands. If you do get on your fingers, that's okay. Just use the baby wipes. Also, if you put it on the wall and you realize you stuck the completely wrong piece there, take it off immediately, wipe the back down with the baby wipes, and you can clean the wall up with the baby wipes as well. And then you'll be ready to stick the right piece on. So we just butter that up. You have a few minutes to adjust the piece into place before it really sets. So just be wary of that. Sometimes, you know, you just make mistakes. I do it sometimes too. But you do have time to correct it. And with Rococo Couture, we always put spare pieces in because, you know, making mistakes or something that you're bound to experience. So we're going to put that in place, and right where it's going to bend, we're just going to apply pressure and snap it. There we go. You just snap it, give you a close-up shot. And yeah, just push it into the curve. It will break and it'll be fine. Now you might get some extra breaks here, see where that's a bit loose, and you might get a bit of glue where your fingers are. So we'll get the baby wipes, clean it off your hands, otherwise you'll just get glue everywhere you go. Very easy to take off with baby wipes. Okay. And we include a pack of baby wipes for your convenience. So if you're not in Australia, you can match it with a brand that you have in your own country that does the same thing. Baby wipe in the bin. Now, what we want to do is, to cover the crack, we want to stick a bit of glue, bit of paint. So I usually use a pale gold, just because it's more reflective and it will shine and look perfect, and you won't notice any sort of blemishes. So grab some of that and we just put it over the join to give it a nice perfect skin, and you don't notice any cracking. It will take about 30 minutes to dry, so you might want to just let that dry while you work on some other area. But that's, with Rococo Couture being plaster, you can go around 45-degree angles or any angles to get a continual pattern. Okay. So now let's focus on some of, you know, the measurement, kind of measuring, putting stuff on. So this pattern here, we're going to continue the same thing over here. So we kind of pick out the same pieces we need. So these are good. That's going to go here and here. And then we're going to get a shell, an S1. So let's butter these up. Sometimes I play music while I'm doing this, but because I'm doing a video and going to put on YouTube, I'm worried that there might be some sort of like legal issue about using someone else's music even in the background. So, but normally try to be relaxed, try to have fun, wear comfortable clothes. It'll give you a better job. So put that in place. Now we just want to check the measurement. So take it from a wall and pick the same point on each one. So that hole's at 40.5. That hole should be at around 40.5. Just a little slight adjustment. And the middle here is 43.5. So that middle join where they all sort of intersect should be around 43.5. So you just want to keep everything straight. Okay, so next piece. And I apologize, my videos are not professional, but you can sort of get a very good feeling that if I can do this, you can do this. It's not hard. Back in the day, they would have, usually have it carved out of wood. They'd have a artist carve the pattern out of wood and install the wood panels. Or you'd have a guy on site carving the plaster. They'd use Parisian, like, you know, sort of like plaster in Paris and carve it up. But I mean, it's kind of the decor style from billionaires these days. So Rococo Couture can get you something similar. And that's why we do it. So that one's going to move over a little bit. Okay. So the next thing is S1. If you do get a bit of oozing, don't hesitate to take out a Q-tip and clean up any oozing besides, because it's easier to clean it now than later. Okay, that's good. Okay, S1. That's going to go in there like that. I'm going to have to spread these a little bit and remeasure it. But yeah, we're still going to get this piece in place. So let's see. Okay, it's going to be something like that. Okay, so we glue up S1. Just touch it, touch the glue on. Each pack for the Rococo Couture, we do include the tuber glue, the tuber paint, so we'll have those because really they do such a great job that you don't want to use any other product just for quality purposes. Okay, so that's going to be like that. We might stick this one on too and then adjust them to get them where we need them to be. Usually arrangements could take hours to finish, so don't feel rushed. Take breaks. Let the glue set if you need it to set before doing too much. Okay, so now we've got them in place. We're going to make sure it's straight. So this one's at 43.5, the middle of the shelf. So we're going to move this over 43.5. And then check at the bottom too. Make sure the bottom is in the middle too. So 43.5. Like I said, the glue will take probably 10 minutes to really set strong, but they won't fall off the wall. So you have all that time to sort of get your pattern right. Sometimes you can't trust that the wall's straight, so sometimes it's an idea to use it from the other side too. Especially if you're in an old house, the walls move over time a bit. So it's 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. Just got to go back a bit. Okay. Okay. And then take your Q-tips and clean up a little bit. You'll go through a lot of Q-tips, so make sure you have a box on hand. Don't want to run out of Q-tips in the middle of the job. Okay, so now I'm going to measure, get this one right. So it's about, you have to be precise to the millimeter, 12 mil from the middle of the wall. Starts at 12, and then we just got to check the end, make sure it finishes at 12. That's it, and then press it down. Yep. Okay, make sure that's pressed down nicely. Give another check, just to make sure. 12. Yep, okay. Okay, then the other side. Oh, this is good. So we'll put this one here. Okay. Butter it up. Sometimes you'll have paint, just, you want to get rid of that. Otherwise it's going to affect the bond, so you want to take that off. And all the pieces are handmade, and so sometimes you do have these things just fall through the quality control process. Now, just get the baby wipe to clean my hands a bit. Okay, I'll put this up. Take some measurements. I'll do this side. So let's check here. It's 45.3, 45.3, that's good. Down here, 45.1. But I think this wall's a bit off, so we'll trust this side, I guess. We'll find out. Okay, so this side is 40.2. Check here, 40.2, and some has to go 40.2. That does not look straight. Oh, 40.2 is over here. So just make that. Okay. 40.2. Okay. All right. So we'll continue the pattern down. These two. Butter up. One tube should last you quite a few jobs. Because you're only really using very small amounts. If you use too much, it'll ooze out the side, so it'll just be a bit messy. So you just want to use a little bit. Okay, put that there. The other side. Butter it up. that. Now you want to line that pattern up with the other one we got above it. And then we'll put the shell on and then take the measurements. So S1, it's going to go down the bottom, and then we'll straighten it all up. Okay. Okay, so up here, let's have a look again. 43.5. This one was a little bit off. Not too bad, just a small nudge. Okay, that's it, 43.5. Now I'll check down here. That's 43, so that's way off. So that's going to move half a centimeter. Okay, 43.5. In the bottom, 43.5, great. Okay, now we have to tidy the edges up. Okay, so measure them again. It's 40.2. 40.2, check the middle, 40.2, yep. Make sure they line up, the grooves line up. 40.2, 40.2, good. Okay, so press that down gently. Okay. All right, so the other side, check up here, 45.2. 45.2 is an inside mark. 45.2. 45.1. Just move a tad. A bit more. Okay, 45.2. Now I'll line the bottom part up. Make sure it's, yep. And then 45.2, good, okay. So that's that. Now we've got the bottom part. Just so you can see there. Okay. So that's going to go like this. All right, we butter it up. See how that's like a little bit more pointed out, that with a little bit of a point? That's a bit easier when you want to do finer, smaller ones. So like even that little knob there, you want to get some glue on that. Make it really, really strong when it's on the wall. Okay. Takes me about 6 hours to make a linear meter. And then it takes another 4 hours to put that linear meter on sometimes. So all up, about 10 hours to do one linear meter of Rococo Couture. From scratch to finished product. Now obviously, I'm only doing 6 hours of that, and the other 4 hours is you. So yeah, just to let you know, it does take time. Okay, so this is going to be on an angle again. So we're going to make sure that this part that we just put on is in the right position. So I've got this little knob part here. We'll do that first. We'll get that into position, and then we'll put the second part, the second bracket on, and we'll have to snap it into place around the curve. Okay, so that one's going to have to go 43.5 as well. Oops, it's 43. So 43 and a half. Make that square. Get it into place. Just a bit more. The top part. Yeah, that's what's up. The top and bottom of it have to be at 43 and a half. Okay. And let's bring it down. Push this across. $43.5, good. And the bottom part has to move across. 43.5. There we are. Okay, so clean it up with some. Like usually when you move stuff around like that, you'll have to find the glue and wipe it up with a Q-tip. All right, double check. 43 and a half, 43 and a half, 43, 43 and a half, okay. So now this part is going to go like that. Oh, I made a terrible mistake, okay. So that's the wrong way around. Okay, so we get our baby wipes and we wipe the wall like this. Okay. Now, if you wanted to put that piece away, like let's say I'd used a completely wrong piece, you would you'd clean the back with the baby wipe carefully and then put it back in the box. But we're going to use this again. We just have it upside down. So that's going to be on that side. And this piece is the piece that's going to be on this side. That looks right. All right, so let's go again. Butter it up. Generally, you kind of do the Rococo Couture after your kids are in bed, so it's been a long day. You do make these kind of mistakes, but it's no drama. Butter that up again. Okay. All right. Okay, we'll get it on right this time. That's better. That's right. Okay. Q-tip. Nice. Okay. All right, so this other part, we'll butter this up again, and it'll go on this way. Okay. Here we go. If you butter it up too much, and you do have to take it off and do it again, you'll have a lot of glue. So the second time around, just do a little bit less glue because you already have glue on the back of it. That should do. Okay. Okay, so it's in place, and a little close up of this. So you can see how that's not, it's going on the line where the wall meets. Just push it down, snap it. Okay. And then now you'll have to clean that up a bit. Okay. There we go, a bit more snap. Make sure it hugs that wall really tight. Okay, so Q-tip again, just carefully go around and take out the excess glue. That's a bit of a crack, we'll patch that up with some paint. It's looking good. Okay. All right, so we get brush, just shake the paint upside down, take the lid off. Inside the cap, just take a nice blob. And find where you had any cracks from the snap, and then you just want to paint over them nice and smooth. And the paint will make a nice skin, and the glue will have it on the wall, and it'll look fine. And it'll stick fine too. Okay. So that's what we mean by repairs. Sometimes you drop the piece and it breaks on the ground and you've got to repair it, or just take out a spare, either way. But when you do snap it, you'll have to touch it up. Okay. If you do get some paint on your wall, take your Q-tip, dip it in water, and then that will take the paint off. The paint's water-based. Just a little tip. Okay, so that will be fine. All right, so the next part is we want to do this bottom bit. This one now. We're going to put one of those under here. So the first thing we need to do is measure, that's at 65 at the bottom. And we must probably measure it from the top, that's easier. 71.8. Okay. So that's where these come in handy. It's just a sticker. You want to peel the backing off and then just fold it a little bit so it's mostly sticky, and you're just going to use it like a post-it. What was it? 71.8. 71.8. So the bottom of the post-it, I'll just go really close, that's at 71.8. Now we'll have to find the middle. I think, what do we say, like 34.5, we check again. 43.5, so 43.5, you just want to put a mark with a pencil on your post-it at 43.5, right there. Double check, 43.5, 43.5, perfect. Okay, so that's where you're going to start the next piece. So you take your TS1, this is going to be upside down, and the middle is going to be at 43.5. All right, let me adjust the camera so you can see the pattern that we're making. Butter up your TS1 again. We call it TS1 because it's a shell pattern and it's in the shape of a T. and it's the first one in its series, so we call this TS1. And each piece will have its own code, so you'll be able to reference from the instructions which one exactly. All right, so let's put that one in place. So the middle, 43.5. Now it's gonna have to snap around a corner again. So we have to make sure that this bottom part is at 43.5 before we do that. That is, and the top, double check the top. Yeah, it's pretty good. Okay, so you have to make sure it's straight too. So we want to measure the bottom of these wings to the ground. Make sure that they're equal. If your ground's uneven, you can measure it to the top of your baseboard, because your baseboard should be flat. I'll just go to the tiles. I'll go to the ground. So it's at 65.5, and this side 65.5. That's pretty good. Not perfect though, so let's try and get it perfect. 65.5. 65. Yeah, it's not. Let's do it again. 43.5, yes. 43.5, yes. Oops, there we go. Just checking now. It's at 62.5. 62.5. Okay, good. Let's double check here again. 43.5. 43.5. Okay, so that's good. You don't need this post anymore, so you can get rid of that. You can even leave it up there, but you can take it off now. We don't need it. Okay, so the next part are these again, and you can see here they interlock with the TS1. So we're gonna give this TS1 a little bit of time to dry before we start playing around with the next stage. Sometimes I go ahead with it just because if this isn't straight, if the TS1 isn't straight and I'm just tripping out and I've done my measurements wrong, putting on the second pieces, and if they're not straight, like they're not straight to the ground or equal, then I know that TS1 has to be adjusted. So sometimes we let it set. We don't let it set first, and we put the next pieces on, and we might jiggle it around a bit to make it work. But I think we'll go ahead and we'll go on the next pattern. So that's going to be a tricky one. We'll have to cut this one. We'll use our Stanley knife and wood block to cut that and pop that in place. So we might do the other side first. So butter that up. Most of the time you won't have to go any bends or any angles around walls, so it'll be a lot easier, but I thought I would show you this wall because it's kind of harder, but okay, so you can see here, yeah, so how they butt up against each other. To the eye, it counts it as one piece, even though it's multiple pieces. So you have to really make sure that they really touch each other to create that illusion. Okay, so this one goes over here and it just fits into place like that. And then we measure to make sure that they're the same. So that one's going to come out at around 71.3, and we want to make sure that this is around the same. 71.5. So sometimes it's the floor a bit off. Let me just check this one. 71.3. Okay. Sometimes you just have to maybe just adjust it just a little bit to make sure that they're the same. Yeah, that's better now. 71 points. That's 0.3 now. Okay, so we'll tackle this side now. Okay, so take your pencil, you'll pop it into place, and just with your eye you'll have to judge where you're going to cut it, and you just put a pencil mark on where it needs to be cut to make it fit the wall. Okay, so just follow the wall down, put your pencil marks where it needs to be cut. Now, you just take the camera off so you can see how we do the cutting. Okay. Stanley knife, and you just cut one end at a time. So hold on, just gotta, that's it. Spin it around. Next marking. Yep, and then there was one more down here. Let's just double check first. Make sure that that's where we want to cut that last piece. Yeah, okay. So, last piece is like here. Okay. Now with a cut, you will have to paint that up. So, put this camera back. And we'll have to paint just to seal the plaster. So you take a blob of paint, just like before, off your cap. You want a generous amount of paint. And that, see where it's cut? You want to just smother that with gold paint so that will stick together nicely. This is going to need about 20 minutes to dry. So while this is drying, we can do the pattern on the other side. Okay, so you just want the paint to kind of stick it all back together. Okay. Side two. And cutting things, this is as hard as it gets. And if you stuff it up, just take out your spare and give it another go. Okay, so while that's drying, put that paint back on, paint lid back. We'll start with the other side. Okay, so we're going to do this side and this pattern here. So the next piece we need, this one and the other one. Okay. So it's going to go like that. Sometimes when you need to put two pieces on together, you'll have to sort of jiggy them into place a bit. And then clean it up. So just butter that one up, put that one down, butter the second one up, and obviously when you're doing a pattern, you won't have an existing pattern that you can copy the measurements off. So that's what your installation guide will have. It'll have all the measurements. You just refer the installation guide to get how far off the ground you need to be, or so that you'll have that in your pack, regardless of what panel you pick, what panel you order. So that one goes upside down like that, and this one goes like that. So put this one first, second, get them into place. It's looking good, press it down. Clean our hands, get some baby wipes. If you get baby wipe, if you get glue on the unit, just use the baby wipes to clean it. Q-tip to wipe off excess glue. Okay, that's good. As you can see, that has movement, that can move. So we want to measure, make sure that we're 70 centimeters, and this one's 70, perfect. Okay, so now this piece, oops. Get it back 70, yep. Okay. This one's at 69.6. So take out another one of these. And we want to be 69.6 off the ground. So sometimes I just, it's a bit tricky. You want to hold this one kind of in place. And then with this one, 69.6. Try not to drop it. If you drop it, they may break, but then you've got spares. So 69.6 is like that. Okay. You want to mark that there, 69.6, and that will really help you put it on when you've got glue on the back of it. Okay, so butter it up. So in each pack we do include a generous amount of these little tabs which you can use to mark the wall. It's better to mark it with the stickers than use pencil on the wall because it's just too hard to rub off very cleanly. Okay, so butter that up. Good. Okay, so you've got your marker, 69.6, and that should fit perfectly now. Okay, so wait, we're gonna get this pattern right. Slides in like this a bit more. 69.6. Okay, so let's check. This one was at 70, right? 69.6, was it? Let's just check 69.5, sorry. It's pretty good. Sometimes you just have to. Okay, there we go. That moves in a little bit. Make sure that they're all touching. So it all, to the eye, counts as one piece. Okay, so that's moved a little bit. No. So just push it down a bit. Make sure it's 70. Make sure that touches. Make sure that touches. Okay, this is way off. 69.5. This has got to go up. 69.5. It's got to be touching each other there. Okay, so start from the start. We did have a bit of movement there, so I have to check everything. Whoa. All right, so let's start from the start. Make sure everything's where it needs to be. 43.5, 43.5, 43.5. Okay, that's pretty good. Make sure these are same. 65.5. Okay, let's move it a bit. Five and a half, and here, 2 inches, so let's fix that up. Okay, 65.5, good. All right, then this one, we check this one. Make sure it's at 70. It's got to come down a little bit. Okay, now we're good. Now this one again. This one have to, like that. And then we check back here, 60.5. Okay, perfect now. Oh. All right, let's do a bit of cleanup. Yeah, sometimes it's a little bit of jiggling around, especially for tricky combinations. But just go back and measure it and make sure that all the measurements and it'll all fit together. Okay, so we need some Q-tips. Clean this. Underneath here. Here. So far we've managed to show you quite the range of problems that I wanted to show you in this video. So far it's going so well. Okay, so that one's done. You can take off that piece of paper to pull the sticker off. Now we'll do this part. So we need the leaf. We'll butter that up. Okay, and that just fits in here. Like that. Okay, so again, just make sure that all the pieces are touching the right points so it all counts as one item, one unit. Okay, and then this one. Okay, so butted that up. Okay. Okay. This one's actually missing a couple pieces. Well, we'll do that another day, I think. Actually, I'll do it now. Just 1 minute, I'll get some pieces for that. Alright, at back, I didn't quite realise that pattern wasn't quite finished on that side. So, these are the pieces that would go here. But we've got this one, so we'll do this one first. Again, that's another one of these. That's that side, so we'll get the other one. Okay. Butter that one up. Okay. Okay, so that one fits like that. Okay. Usually the pieces will have a kind of little nook or cranny in them. Just a little, like that one. See, it has that little dent there. So the head of this one, or the tip of that one, will fit into that exactly. In the instructions, you'll have that in clear detail in picture form, so you'll be able to make sure that that's installed properly. Okay, just get a bit of paint. See this one. It's a little bit dark here. We want to just brighten it up a bit. So you can sometimes use the gold paint to add like a little bit of a highlight. So if your stoves are, it looks a little bit dark when the light bounces off it, just brighten up with some light pale gold. Okay, so this is the one. This one's going to go like this. Okay. We didn't have the piece when we were doing this side. I just kind of make the pieces as I go. So we might, if I've got another set, I'll do that side while I'm at it. All right. And there's a little piece that comes off there. Yep. Right, so just butter that one up again. Oh, sometimes the little pieces are hard. You might get just too much glue, so, and instead of worrying about too much cleanup, just take a Q-tip and clean it up before you put it on. That's sometimes easier. Sometimes using the Q-tip for small pieces is a good way to spread the glue, especially if you put too much on. Okay, so I'm going to put that in place. Clean our hands. Okay. Now this piece will fit in like that. So butter this up. Okay, that's that side done. I don't have another one of those leaves, but yeah, I don't have, I'll have to do this side later. Probably next week when I make a couple more of these. So that's pretty much the pattern that you have here before we start looking at this part. Okay, so we'll go back to the two pieces we cut. You can see that the paint's pretty set. How that fits is going to fit in like that. We'll see how it goes. Okay, butter it up. Good, pretty good. Okay. The second part, we'll butter that up. And this is what makes Rococo Couture good for DIY, is it? You don't have to do it all in one day. Do some, take a rest, take a break, and then leave it for another day. But we'll finish this part for you today. So you can see how that's come together really well. Let's see, there, it's joined up really well, see? Okay, so we want to just check the measurement, make sure it's the same on both sides. So just measure from the ground. We've got 71.3, and this way 71.4. So just play with it a little bit just to get that millimeter down. .4. 1 mil isn't going to kill you, so if you can't jimmy it down a mil, it's okay. But see, oh yeah, there we go, 0.3. All right, so now you just want to press that down into place. Measure it again. Yep. Okay. Clean up some excess glue. Oops. Let's check the measurements. Yep. Okay, so where the crack was, where we cut it, we're gonna we're gonna paint over that. So any holes or cracks, just want to put a generous amount of pale gold there, just so it's invisible. And when the gold sets, it will be nice and strong. Good. Okay. We probably want that to really set first before we start moving these other things, because you can see how that caused quite a bit of movement. So let me just look here. Right, we'll go and we'll see if we can do it. Okay, so these two pieces again, butter them up at the same time. But normally I would let that really dry. I'd come back half an hour later or something, make sure that was really stuck before I worked on these. But we'll keep going. We might be fine. So butter those up. Okay. Okay, this one is gonna have to snap. Okay, so you can see that one is right where that line is. So we're gonna have to push that down. And yeah, so with these ones here, you don't bother about cutting them. Just get it in place. It's not going to fall. Just make sure this is at 70. Okay, that one has to move up a little bit. Okay. Okay. And now if it doesn't go well, we can always just take out a spare. But you push it down nice and gently and apply pressure where the line is. Should be fine. Okay, so let's see. Not the best one. Not the best one. Okay. Okay. Not too bad. Let's have a look. Yeah, see, looks all right. So, but the main thing was you have to check this measurement, make sure it's still at 70. And it's moved a little bit, so we've just pushed that up a bit. Push this one a bit. And it's fine. Okay. Sometimes you'll have to get the paint out again and touch up more paint, just where we cracked that new one. And while you're at it, sometimes just chuck more paint on the old one. Okay. Okay, so just cover the break with the paint. That's good. Okay. Perfect. Sometimes when the paint dries, it will contract a bit and you'll see the lines. So you may well have to go over tomorrow and just touch it up again with the paint. And eventually, if you put enough paint, it'll fill in the hole, fill in the gaps. Okay, so we'll try this one now. Actually, we'll wipe up that excess glue. glue up the top here. That's one. Okay, two. Now this piece here is also, oh no, it's not gonna have to snap. Okay, so we just have to 69.5, it came out the last one. I think ideally we wanted 69.6, but again, a millimeter's not going to kill us. Okay. Just hold that into place with one hand. Get your tape measure. I'm going to just try to get it 69. Okay, this is good. 68. 6. 6 is up here. Okay. Let's check this one again. Yep, that's moved. So that one, oops, right from the floor. No, it's good, 70. That's fine. Okay, let's just double check here. Okay. Just check this one. Right, so it's just going to come up a couple mil. About a centimeter. Okay. Oh, wait. Sorry. You want the top to be there, so I'm just going to put that back down. Okay. All right. And let's see if that works. Okay. Okay. Okay, it'll work. All right, let's butter it up. Okay. Here you go. So that has to touch, and it has to finish around there. Okay. Just take the measure. Just go up a little bit. Yep, that's still good. Okay, I think that's good. Tied. Okay. All right, that's good. Press down. Take that off. Okay, so we just finish this one off. Okay, so that's buttered up. Let's just clean that. Just a little piece here. Okay. Nice, that went on well. Get this piece next. Do the bottom part. Okay. This one will also have to go around the wall, so we'll have to snap it too. So again, if you had wood, it would be a lot harder to work with. But with plaster, it's really easy to go around these little curves. Okay, so line it up. Okay. Just press it down. Might need some more glue under there. Didn't butter it properly, so if you have to do that, just take a Q-tip, swipe a little bit off, lift up the part that needs to be buttered, and just try and get it under there just a little bit. Okay. And then with the other side of the Q-tip, clean off the excess. Okay. Good. Okay. Again, apologies, this isn't really a flashy presentation, but it's very real, so no tricks or anything. You can see what it takes to install this product. Okay, so the next, yeah, there's no editing, and for time, this is all live time. Okay. Okay. Put that one on. That's good. All right. This one. So butter that up. And that just fits in like that. Okay. Okay. There you have it. That's that part done. Now we'll have to do this little bit here. Even here, we'll just finish that. That's a piece that goes in there. Just butter this up. So yeah, usually it takes me 2 or 3 sessions to get a panel done, or even longer to get an area done. Okay. Oh. All right, next one. Do the other side. Sometimes it just wasn't painted perfectly, and usually before we send any out to you, we check this quite thoroughly. But in my case, I really want to get this video done, so we didn't quite check it as well as we should have. So if that's the case, you just get a bit of paint. Paint the side. Don't put on unless the paint is all perfect, because it's just really hard to paint on the wall. So once you've got that fixed up, we'll pop that into place. There we go. And we'll do this another time. There's one more piece over here. One of these. Okay. Okay. Goes here. Okay. So give you a little close up. Okay. So you can see how we've gone around the wall there, how the paint's kind of covered up a lot of the gaps. We might have to put a little second touch of paint on that after it dries to see how it shrinks. And I think I got one more piece I wanted to put on. Let's move this back a bit more, get into view. Okay, so this piece here, we'll just do that one. And then we'll call that a session. Okay. Bend a bit more back. All right. Okay, so we're going to put another one of these on the other side. That's it there. It's going to go something like that. So we'll have to take some measurements first. We measure from here to the ground, and that's at 1.5 meters. So take our little post-its again. We want that at 1.5 meters. So, top at 1.5 meters. There we go. And now we have to work out how far we have to be. So to do that, normally you'll have measurements, but for me, I'll have to work it out. All right, so 43.5. Get some paper. .43.5 centimeters is the middle. And then out from the middle, it's going to be close to 14.5. 14.5. Maybe from this line out. Okay, that's better. 11 centimeters. So This is dry now. If you bring that out, we're going to have 11 centimeters. 11 centimeters is going to be the outside edge. So we're going to have to move our post-it over a little bit. So 11 centimeters here. Just mark it at 11 centimeters. We'll have to check the... Yeah, so you have to find points of reference sometimes just to get things in the right place. 1500, you can move it down 2 mil. That's right. Okay, now we'll check this out again, 11 centimeters. Perfect. Okay. So the line here where those two pieces joined should be the center. Okay, that actually works. Perfect. So, butter it up. For some of the bigger pieces, start with the more delicate areas like these flowers here. Start with the small areas first. That way at least you have somewhere to hold on to while you're doing this. Just little bits, little touches of glue. All around the perimeter. Flowers right to their ends. Inside you can put a little bit more glue where it's a little bit thicker, because it's not going to bleed over the edges badly. Or at all if you do just the right amount of glue. Okay. Okay. All right, so that's going to go corner to the marker. And then we want to now check that that's straight. So we pretty much just measure here to here, make sure that's still at 11. Mil, and then the same over here. Okay, it's too much on this side. Sometimes the eye can trick you, so just always follow the ruler. Like it looks straight to you, but it's because your head's kind of crooked. So just make sure that the ruler's your guide. Okay. Okay, so you can, now that we have that established, you can kind of just go from the wall here and just keep checking it. That's at 10.1. And over here is 10.1. Good. Okay. 1.5. That we are. Okay. Might even check it from this side. Obviously, usually you want to check it from the closer side, but sometimes it doesn't hurt to just check it a little bit more. So that's 68.6, and here is 68. 68.5. 1 mil. Let's have another look here. 68.5. If you've got a spirit level, that's good too, but usually just measuring from both sides of the wall up and down should get you very close to where you need to be, if not spot on. Okay, so just press that down a bit. Wipe off any excess glue. Okay, so the next part, well, the last part we'll do is this part, because this will have the two wooden parts that go up, which we'll leave for another day. Okay, so it's going to be like that. Okay, again, so we want to measure that point to the ground, and we want to put a sticker posted tag on that. So we're at 135.1. 135.1. Okay, there we go. 135.1. We'll have to check this distance here. So basically looking at 22.4. Very similar to here, so we can come out, that's right, 22.4. We'll just use our marker. On the paper, of course. 22. .4 is there. Okay. So now let's just have a check, make sure that looks like it's going to be right. And that looks like it's going to be very right. Okay. It's definitely right there. Okay, just double check this paper again. To make sure we're on a 135.2 ends up. 130. Oh, it's the top part. Okay. So it's really here. That's the point. Point on. Yeah. Really, that looks very good. Okay, well, we might put that on. Okay, so just butter this up. I'm going to start at the top here where it's really delicate. That way you can get a really good hold of it while you're buttering it. Okay. And if you've made it all the way to this point of the video, you know, I really appreciate your viewing and you're studying this this approach, and hopefully it works really well in your place. I'm very happy how it's turned out in my place. So, you know, just really keen to share it with you. Okay, so that's all buttered up. Start on the point and then touch the end. Perfect. All right, so just check this next part. Now let's make sure it's in the middle. It's looking pretty good. Okay, so now we need to measure this part up here. So again, measure it from the floor. And if you're doing this panel, you would have the instructions with, you know, very close-up pictures of where to measure it from. So 153 53.4. This is really just to give you a fair look at everything that can go wrong in this and how do you tackle those little issues. There is one issue where you just completely stuff it and there's like this little gap, and the way you tackle that is you just find a similar piece of plaster in the spare box and just break that little piece off and fill in the gap. You just have to make it look like they're touching. If they're touching, then it'll look like one piece and you won't even notice the stuff up. I'll probably close this video by showing you a few examples of where that's the case for me. So 153.3 I think it was. 153.3, that looks about right. So 153.4. 153.4. 153. This is 153.5. So just 1 mil down. We can handle that. And the same thing here. You want to just measure across here, and that is 22.4, 22.9. Just check this one. You just want to make sure these are the same. Yeah, 22.4. Let me have a look here. 22.4. Yeah, 22.4. Sorry. Always to check if you read your ruler the wrong way. 22.4. That would get me. 2.4. Just double check that. 22.4. Yes. Okay. Let's see if this works. Just touch that point with the end, and it fits. Yeah, perfect. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. All right. So let's butter that up. Occasionally you'll have a little crack. There you can see, right there's a little crack. Just make sure you get some butter in that crack. So you might even do that first. There we go. That will fix that. Okay. Let's do the end pit. This is the last piece we're going to put on today, and then I'm just going to close the video out, just showing you that other type of error I've made a couple times. And it's very easy to fix also. But don't expect to finish a whole panel in one sitting. Think of it like a Gundam or Lego or something. You just do a little bit here, 4 hours, and then do another 4 hours or 2 or 3 hours, something like that. Take your time with it and get it perfect. So that's all good. Okay, so put at the marker first, make sure that's right, and then the rest of it will fit perfectly into place, like that. Okay, just clean it up and then I'll give you a close-up shot of that. And with the Q-tips, just keep it nice and clean. Alright, so just give you a close-up so you can see how that's all turned out. You can see where we had the mark, the pencil mark right there. Just make sure it's really touching the pencil mark, and you can trust that's going to come out pretty perfect. All right, so you can see how that's the pattern there. We'll leave these for another day. Just joins up there. That, I think we'll call that enough plastering for today. Give it a bit of a shot so you can see how we're continuing the pattern across. All right, and I said, I'll show you what I mean. One of the early times I made a mistake, and it was because I was not really measuring properly, you know, just going by eye, and that's how you make mistakes. Is if you look here, see how that's where the piece ends, and I've added another little extra piece. Yeah, so I came up a centimeter short because, as you can see, it's not quite straight. And you can get away with a little bit of that just because it's such a old world technique, and it's, you know, handmade, and it got that sense that a hand has been on it. But you can see on that one, it's not quite straight across the top of that picture. But because it has that old world charm, you kind of get away with a little bit of crookedness, but unfortunately, you might end up with a little gap. And the way to fix that is you just get another piece of little plaster, steal it from another piece, break it off, chuck it in there, and paint it, and you won't notice it. It'll be fine. Another similar issue was over here. It's a bit up there, I don't know if you can see. Right there. Right there. I had to do the same thing. I just put, like, I don't know, I did all the other plaster around it, and then when I went to stick that piece in, it didn't quite fit because, you know, everything else was just that millimeter off. So I just had to break a piece of plaster and just pop it in there. And it looks fine. Like, it looks how it should look, like this. See? A little bit different. But when you look at the entire pattern, everything's all fixed up. So that's the only consideration of another kind of error that you might have to deal with. Apart from that, I think we'll leave it at that today. See, I've gone through all the pieces that we're going to go through, used all the tools that we're going to use, and you can see the pattern continuing across ever so slowly. And that's because I have to make the pieces and then put them on. So I don't have the luxury of somebody making pieces for me. But yeah, when we make your kits, they have all the pieces all good to go for you. You'll have all the instructions. Just give you a little screenshot of what that kind of looks like, because I'm putting one together for an order now. So yeah, we'll go through step by step and tell you how far off the floor, etc. We get into a bit of detail so you can really get that done right. And then when we get to that panel, we'll have that entire sort of written description, and I'll do it live like this, even if it takes an hour, and you'll see how to put it on, and you'll be able to read and follow and get all the measurements right and understand what you're doing. Okay, thank you for joining us in this little plastering session at 2 a.m. And I hope that that's going to be helpful in helping you understand how to do the Rococo Couture and making a decision whether that's a technique you want to go forward with. Traditionally, you know, they carve panels out, but you really need to design the interior first and then build the building, and then you have everything fit. But if you have an existing building like this, and each wall it's not symmetrical, or this wall's a little bit bigger or something, Rococo Couture is better because you can sort of design the panels any size you want to fit the wall. And even if walls are different, you can sort of have similar motifs to kind of make them cohesive. So it is a good system for that. And it's a lot of work, but it feels very rewarding, and you've done it yourself. So it's a bit of a talking point. And you can have a bit of a theme, and I'll talk about a theme next video, but I mean, in this room, for instance, I'll give you a little peek at the plaque down there. So there's a little plaque down there with the name of the room, designed by Rococo Couture. And if you are designing a room and you let me know the name of the room, I'm happy to make a plaque like this for you and throw it in your next order. So that says Le Petit Prince Salon by Rococo Couture. And so it's at the front door. When you open up, you're like, oh, look, you know, that's the name of the room. And I will do another video for you to explain that entire concept, how we do that as interior designer. Pick a bit of an abstract theme and design a room around it. So we'll talk about that next video. And thank you for your time and watching this, and God bless and thank you. All right, see you next time. Bye for now.